Hey y'all, it is June the 22nd, 2020. It is Monday. I'm extremely excited. But then again, I just woke up not too long ago. Um, I got all pumped up. I got a cup of coffee. I got some Turbo Force. Stuff's about to get ridiculous, right? But I'm not sure, and we're not sure probably where we're going tonight. It shall get a little bit willy-nilly. Like I said, fixing to have a battle royale up on the live stream. I'm not sure how or why, but I could feel the tension building. Right, it's June the 22nd. Like I said, just woke up. There's a few things that I want to share with y'all before we get this here shindig underway. There's a few things that I want to share with y'all that I took some screenshots of probably, and they'll prove to be crucial just to get us a little bit of wherewithal before we dive on into some stuff. All right, screenshots right now. Screenshots now. All right, here we go. Actually, I wanted to show you real briefly. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but some recent pictures of the garden. There's some peppers and stuff down there. I've been really slacking on the Instagram and stuff, but I got to tell you, there's some pictures. See, this is new developments. I got rid of some stuff, and I'm focusing on some other stuff, and I want to tell you all about it. But not right now, right? Different developments on that. See right there. Different little developments, and I gotta keep you posted, but a little bit later. In the meantime, let's take just a look at a few of the screenshots. I don't remember what we have. Iconic Teddy Roosevelt statue at Museum of Natural History to be removed. Lord knows I don't know too much about Teddy Roosevelt. There he is with an Indian, so that is racist. And they're gonna remove it, and they're just trying to move all sort of statues about and crumble them down to the ground, and even smash them on each other's heads sometimes. What do they say? By any means necessary. Okay, just gonna keep doing it. The thing is, obviously, we discussed this a long time ago. As I try to get comfortable in my new setting, I moved my set around a little bit, you guys, in order to, I'll tell you about it in a second, but anyways, the statues, they're coming down, and that's bad, all right, and the books, they'll burn, and that's bad. It's a step-by-step process in order to delete history, right, and then at which point you make up your own history now. Some would argue that the public school curriculum, and probably every school curriculum, is based around a skewing of the history already. Really bad. Really, really bad. Right? And they want to just make sure that they can carry that out. So they'll drag down these statues. Statues by which people paid lots of money. And typically I would imagine taxpayer money. Sometimes I bet you it gets donated. Anyways, all that money's just gone to nothing so that we could have statues of nothing. Meanwhile, if we ever make statues, of course, we're going to tear them down a few years later, because of how racist they are. Shitting inside CHOP. There's some shittings inside CHOP, and I was actually hearing about this from a few different people. But I thought I would shout out to Don B podcast. That's deep in the heart of Texas. I'm not sure exactly where. I think a little bit north from here. That would be Don B podcast. I want to get on his podcast one of these days, but that's him, and he's talking about Chop Chaz and his clown world, and people getting shot up in Chop Chaz, and a lot of people don't even know what Chop Chaz is, and how could you blame them, right? I wanted to look at this screenshot real quick. It's exactly what everybody predicted, to include myself. All right, but it is what it is. Broward businesses caught not following COVID-19 precautions, and I think that's what we're going to notice out here. It's interesting how certain places, especially certain cities ran by certain Democrat mayors, are going to every length just to be a-holes and stuff. Like, people really, really struggling, right, to get their business to where it makes some sort of money, please. And meanwhile, not only, of course, do the police, I guess the police come through, but I don't know if that's true, and they give citations, and then you got like some sort of inspectors or whatever, and they get citations. And then you got people in the news, the most unhealthiest people you ever want to look at, to the right here, coming and asking, "Oh, are y'all being healthy enough? I think y'all aren't social distancing enough. I think you're making just a little bit too much money to pay your bills." All right, and tries to point them out. And the whole premise is undeniably that if people come together as they've always done throughout history, then they'll kill everybody, and they mean to kill everybody with their diseases. All right, that I don't know who's going to argue against that. All right, even the people who are proponents of just shutting it down everybody's businesses, even those people got to admit, yeah, you're accusing people of wanting to kill you, all right, by breathing on you, and they can't even wear a mask without getting accosted in front of the Twin Peaks, by all means. And there's a lot of other restaurants that they've called out for not social distancing. All right, mind you, that's completely impossible in the restaurant industry. It's not going to go very long. But here's the one screenshot that I wanted to show y'all. It's a blast from the past. All right, and we're going to stop on this note, and then I got to make a call and stuff. We're going to see if we can get the audio right. We're going to see if everything comes together. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. But it's going to be a pioneering type episode today. This battle royale is going to get real belligerent. Trial delayed in the case of confessed Parkland killer Nicholas Cruz. I wanted to bring that up. I don't know how many people would come through this channel and not know what that is, but of course, that was a lifetime ago, dude. Honestly, most people don't even remember, and they surely don't remember David Hogg, who still remains on Twitter, still probably going to Harvard, wearing a mask and everything like that. Who knows? But here's the thing: trial delayed in case of confessed Parkland killer Nicholas Cruz. And that was breaking. That might have been a few hours ago that they dropped that. I took a screenshot, I don't know, like an hour ago. So the thing is, what's kind of eerie, and everybody's got to know it. You just got to accept it, right? Because like I said, man, you start seeing the truth and you start liking it, and you start trying to get more and more of that truth, and you're going to come across certain things, and you're going to say certain things, you're going to predict certain things, you're going to start being some sort of prophet, right? Some sort of psychic fortune teller, and you're going to say these things, and they're going to just obviously come to fruition, just like you said they were, right? And so this is one of those things for myself, right? And in that, when I said months ago, that these people, the last thing they ever want to do, ever, is to have a big public trial of all the evidence concerning this here event, Parkland, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, for everybody who remembers. And I might not be able to say that on YouTube, all right? Because remember, everybody was getting blocked and censored back then and deleted from off of YouTube for even talking about this particular event. It was the biggest event, quote unquote, in the world, and they didn't stop talking about it for months and months. And they tried to make celebrities off it, and it failed miserably, actually. All right, and I have the numbers to prove it. I do have the receipts. It failed miserably. But anyways, months and months ago, I said, all right, and a lot of y'all probably already said out there, they do not want to have this trial. And mind you, they're not going to they're going to go through the motions at best. And that's with or without the blessings of Judge, what was her name? This judge that we're looking at. Gosh, it skips my brain. Schaefer, something. Anyways, hot judge looking out after the case. I don't know if she's in on it or not in on it. I guess only time will tell, but I'm talking about a lot of time, because I said they're not going to have this case for as long as they possibly can. Right? The reason is because, like I said, of the evidence. They want everybody to forget about it. Meanwhile, according to the Constitution, which obviously, is either here or there, I'm not sure, there's no such thing as a speedy trial. Nicholas Cruz don't get no speedy trial. And that's what I wanted to point out. Nicholas Cruz, although he's my homie, and that'll give me kick it off the internet. I've never met him or talked to him. I'm just saying, man, I feel for the guy. He's not exactly anything special, and that's what's unfortunate. It's going to be a lot of people. It's been a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot more people who get taken advantage of sincerely by the government to one extent or another and get absolutely just ramshackled. All right, just totally ramrodded and the whole nine. So Nicholas Cruz definitely got that. And he got crucified in the public. And some people will say he deserved it because he's a heinous murderer. But the thing is, I've never seen the evidence of it. So you're going to have to give me that evidence. And it's 2 years out. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time. A very long time. So now we're 2 years out. There's no such thing as a speedy trial or anything. They think it's an open and shut case. Meanwhile, I looked at this video. I don't know if we'll have time to look at it later. Because I want to dive into some more important things, but this is crystallized. This is a window into everything. You know this, you know everything. So really all it takes is hunkering down and trying to get to the details. Parkland is a gold mine of details. All right, there's all sort of details they'll never tell you. There's all sort of thing. Epstein is a gold mine for details. People will say 9/11. People will say Sandy Hook. People would say this and that. People say all sort of things. A gold mine for details. All right. Jeffrey Epstein, who happens to be, I mean, that was pretty much centered around South Central Florida, wasn't it? But anyways, what I gotta say is, of course, Nicholas Cruz was railroaded. If you're to look at the evidence, and I've seen people all over the internet, and they'll specialize in certain things, and they'll be detectives, and God bless them, they're doing that work, they're putting in that work, so that the people can know, right? It's hard for someone to take on that arduous task sometimes. And God bless them for doing it out there. And lots of times I'll hear these people and they'll be talking about all this wild stuff that, by the way, I've heard of before usually. And they'll be talking about it and they'll be like, man, I can't believe that everything, I started diving into this, I dived down this rabbit hole, and then everything was fake and stuff. I realized, man, everybody was faking it. And people were all lying and covering up, especially when it comes to these certain rings, if you know what I'm saying, and people were all lying and covering it up, and to include the media and everything, and to make you wonder what's real, because so many lies were said about this, all in public, all through the media, and it was all orchestrated. They were lying about it the whole entire time. And they'll usually spill their guts. They'll be like, I can't believe it, and now I don't even know what to believe. To me, I believe, I don't know what you number it, but that would be step one. Or step two, you dive down a rabbit hole, you start diving down these rabbit holes, you start understanding you don't know what to believe. All right, maybe that's step two. Some people hit that black pill and get all disoriented. All right, but might I just suggest that what the conclusion I came to is there's no reason to believe anything, and it is just that simple. All right, if you could just I don't know, I mean, consider it. Like I have, the thing is, there's no reason to believe anything, because there is no reason to believe anything. First of all, it's probably none of your business. And then secondly, if it had something to do with your business, I think you'd have enough common sense to know that people are going to lie about it. People are all lying about it, and there's no way to get to the bottom of things. There's no way to be educated on some sort of thing just by watching other people's documentaries or something like that. You got to get down to the nitty gritty, right? And that is just what it is. And might I add, all these things, gosh, you know, the more you know that you don't know. Am I right? But at the same time, the more you know that, like, yeah, there's so many things that were all messed up. Be it fake, be it happened or it didn't. It was all messed up, right? And then there's more, and there's more and more, and it just keeps becoming a big old spider web. So that's just more evidence to believe that. And see, okay, and just to finish off on this whole Parkland deal, people are going to pretend to be upset about it, and it makes me sick, to be honest with you. I'm not going to call anybody's name out, but I'm just saying victims of the shooting or whatever. Let's just say there would be victims of the shooting's parents, and those parents would be like, oh, this is unacceptable, and blah, blah, blah. I can't believe this. This is atrocious, and this is a miscarriage of justice, and I can't believe this, that we can't start this trial. And And I don't know if you got it already, but you can't start a trial because of what? Corona. That's why. And months ago when I said they're going to kick the can down the road just about as hard and fast as they can, I had no idea that Corona was about to pop up. All right, I couldn't have guessed any better, unfortunately. So they're talking about, I think August. They might have another meeting about what they're gonna do in August. All right, it's gonna be a long time, and by that time, everybody will have forgotten about it. Meanwhile, dude got railroaded. There is no evidence. There is no reason to believe what they're saying. And would you put it past them to lie about this? I mean, if they lied about everything else, if they continue to lie in front of our faces, obviously. All right, it's not a reason to get too flustered necessarily. Bad stuff's happening, but I think it's facilitating a bit of a change and a divide. All right, we talked about it a while. Now here's the thing. I wanted to start something new on this broadcast, and I've actually taken a little bit of time to do an intro just to give our wherewithal, but I did want to start something new, and we're going to see if we can't do it right now. All right. These are a whole bunch of screenshots and stuff, man, that we could look at, and there's hundreds of them. They freak me out. I'm going to start storing them, I guess, or whatever, but they're just freaking me out. Like, I got to get rid of them stuff. We're not going to talk all about them right now. Instead, we're going to make a call, and we're going to see if he's available. We're going to start to do this kind of interaction stuff. In fact, that's what I want to do most. All right, so I want to talk to the people out there, and at least for the time being, the very important people and stuff, we got to keep it kind of limited. Well, at this point, only certain people have gotten this here number. So, those people out there, can feel free to call in, I suppose, if you get a whiff and stuff. Meanwhile, I don't know if I'm on the internet. I could be and stuff, could be shadow man and stuff like that. Or maybe people got stuff to do and I couldn't blame them. But I want to holler at our man and see if he's available right now. Because the Lord knows he's been here, there, and everywhere. For all I know, he typically is. And we're talking about the man Bart Fine, internationally known, as described by Newsweek, the enemy of everything that they love. Bart Fine, a menace to the YouTube, all right, and pretty much a legend like Paul Bunyan. We're gonna see if we can get him on the phone, and we're gonna see if we can get some good audio, and we're gonna see what it is that he might want to talk about, because I haven't really heard from him so much lately. Could it be the COVID? Because Lord knows they're gonna do that second wave stuff, just like we predicted and everybody predicted, to include that doctor. Everybody predicted it. All right, they're gonna do this second wave stuff, drum it up, continue to close down everything, and stifle everybody's money and their money flow. All right, but I don't know what Bart's gonna want to talk about. So let me see if the audio works. Oh man, sorry for that noise. Alright, see, we're testing this out, and like I said, I don't know how good's the audio, and I know I might have blasted y'all in the face with, oh man, and now I'm trying to type, and then I messed up the numbers. See, that's why I need a producer, an assistant. Hold on 1 second. Click it. Oh man. Alright, y'all, a world premiere. And I got big numbers on the phone too. It's one of those old school phones, and I got big numbers on purpose. I was like, man, my big stubby fingers.
You've reached Bart Fine. Please leave a message and I'll call you back later.
Oh man, see, I knew Bart Fine would be up to no good and stuff right now. All right, so he's probably in the backwoods and stuff, trying to trap some deer or some stuff in the middle of the night. But oh shoot, actually I guess I'm leaving a message. Hey Bart Fine, I don't know what you're doing right now, all right, but hopefully you're social distancing, because a wave of corona is about to hit us. All right, I don't want to take up your time, but it could be the end of you. All right, so I'll holler at you later, or you can call back anytime, and we'll get it on in a verbal way. All right, you understand me? All right, well, I'll holler at you later, Bart Fine, and you can holler at me anytime and stuff. We're going to cut out this stream in a little while. We just got here, and so we're going to be here for a while, so holler at me and stuff. End of message. All right. So Barfine totally stood us up. That's all right. All right, because we're gonna take some time. It's gonna take, some time to get used to. I gotta learn how to dial the numbers. Perhaps I'll even store the numbers in there. It's all sort of features on my phone. I wish I would have taken a picture of it. I think I did a long time ago, just to show y'all what I'm working with. So, but in the meantime, I do have all these crazy screenshots. It's like we could go over them, but it's dumb. All right. Amy Schumer dedicates Father's Day post to single moms. I love my dad, but my mom did it all, as you'd expect her to say. All right. This NASCAR investigation underway. A noose found. People are finding nooses all over the place like you wouldn't believe. All right. That's not all crazy propaganda. COVID-19 is weakening. Could die out without vaccine, specialist claims. Oh, wouldn't you know it? Jerusalem Post. A lot of people would not like. A lot of people would be very suspicious of that, right? And it got all sort of stuff. I don't know if it's all worth going over. Like Eskimo pie is not going to be Eskimo pie anymore. I mean, this, that, and the third. They took the Land O'Lakes lady off. They took the Aunt Jemima off. Everybody of color is all getting fired. And all their history is all being burned down. It's wild. All right. Shoot. Here, we're going to go ahead and check up on what's breaking off of Google here in a second. Perhaps go to Gab Trends, which is it's one of my favorite as far as efficiency, as far as getting all sort of headlines and stuff before we get out of here. And, pretty much get a thorough wherewithal before we get out of here. But before we do, I just want to show you this. This is numbers. Here's the thing. Here's some numbers, and we're going to talk about them in a second, right? Check out these numbers. They're the Texas numbers, right? These are the supposed numbers of Texas in reference to the whole COVID and stuff, and everybody's breaking out. But this is actually maybe a couple of days ago. I want to show you something else too while we're at it, but keep those numbers in mind. Those are the numbers. All right, we're going to go back to those numbers. I also want to show you something else. I got way too many pictures to keep track of. So I went out in public, Saturday evening, and I thought it would be necessary to hold up this sign just to let people know. And as you can imagine, a wonderful response to it. All right, not everybody responded to the big old sign. Everybody did see it driving down the road, and it was a very populated road. Everybody did see it, but only some people responded. Out of the people who did respond, I would say probably 11 out of 12 of those people were very, very positive, honking and waving and smiling and yelping and sometimes even having conversations because it was right close to an intersection. So sometimes cars would be at a stop and stuff. And I got to tell y'all about that, man. And maybe I'll tell you about it before we get on out of here. But check out that sign, right? And of course, some people were having negative responses to it. And it's unfortunate. But I just kept doing it. And I was holding it out there. Meanwhile, I believe that Donald Trump, president fella, was over there having a speech at the same time. And I did that for a reason. I wanted just kind of put it out in the atmosphere while that was going on, that it is okay to go have a rally. It is okay to go and do something and look at people in the face. And the mask is a lie, all right? See, that was a sign that I had. It's a hoax. The mask was a lie, all right? It was a lie, Steven. They didn't give me no eagle powers. All right, but I want to also go back to the numbers before we forget about that, because we're going to talk Texas numbers. Screenshot activated. All right, Texas numbers. I want to show you some. Gosh, I don't know how to. My big old fat fingers. Texas numbers. A lot of these might seem very like they're big numbers, right? Might get you scared. Might want to get you hiding under the bed. But let's discuss them a little bit. I gotta say, just one real brief story out there. I got a lot of reactions. One person actually stuck their head out the window and yelled at me that their sister has COVID and that I'm an asshole. as they rode by and stuff, and that was interesting. I was like, wow. But that was interesting. We're going to discuss the sign a little bit more in a second, but there's nuance to the sign. All right, there's a nuance to the sign, and actually, nowhere in the sign do I imply that the COVID doesn't exist. Or, I didn't say the virus is a hoax. We'll talk about that. But Texas numbers, here's the test results. As you can see, 1.5 almost million test results, right? It's quite interesting. No matter how many people ride down the road and their sister has COVID or something, does not change the numbers. In fact, I don't believe these numbers, to be honest with you. And even if you believe these numbers, they're kind of weak sauce numbers. If you really think about it. Okay, because 1.5 million test results. Let's think about it. 1.5 million in all of Texas. Technically, there's more people in Bexar County by itself than these test results done all over Texas. And they're doing a lot of them. But as you go down to the next row, you see quite clearly that out of that almost 1.5, let's say 1.423 million test results, you have negatives. How many negatives? 1.320. See, there's the kind of details that someone who's in love with lies, they can never wrap their head around it because they can't see past the nose on their face. Right? This is in the completely public. They publish these numbers. The people telling you to be all afraid publish these numbers. So, out of 1,423,000 complete total tests, 1,320,000 come up negative. How's that even possible? We already good and well know the answer to it, but it's plain right there in black and white. It's possible because most of the people who test are not sick and are testing. Either that or they're sick with something else. That is if the test actually worked, and no, they don't work. And we already know they don't work. So if the test hypothetically did work, shout out to the person up in the building, I see you, but if we're going to just assume that the tests do work, and they do not, Unwrapped by Branda, oh man, it is so late. It does kind of creep up on us. It does on me, especially because the sun is out for so long. And so me personally, I had to schedule my stuff out proportionately, but it is kind of easy to let time get away and stuff, and it gets so late. But that's what I like about summer, especially because I like the very long days. All right, I want the sun to be out, and it is kind of confusing. But meanwhile, we were talking about the Texas numbers, Brenda. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. This was maybe a few days ago, and Lord knows they've probably done all sort of tests since then. But as of a few days ago, I mean, that's pretty dang current. Test results, all these 1,423,000. The great majority come up negative. Tell me how that's even possible. All right, you know full well, just like I do, that it's possible because those people either were sick with something else, either that or they weren't sick, and that's probably the case for most of them. And we've heard about all these factories and stuff getting shut down pertaining to food and food processing and all these other things messing up the supply chain. Meanwhile, these people are literally not sick. Right? And they're coming up negative by the great majority. And we're supposed to be so afraid of it. And people are they're so brainwashed that this is like sunlight to a vampire. It's like, they're going to start dissolving and stuff. Like, these numbers right there will totally turn their brain into a pretzel. And they'll burst out into a murderous rage. Probably. Right? But facts is facts, and we don't even believe these numbers. Okay, but check this out. 103,000 positive. This is in all of Texas. All right, but still, I acknowledge that's a pretty big number, even for all of Texas. All right, 103 positive. They don't have any pending, whatever that means. So, according to their official numbers, they got 65,000 of those people have recovered. So that's over half of the people have recovered. Over half of the people who test positive have officially recovered. Now, if you go down to hospitalized, all right, check this out. This is where it really gets down to the nitty gritty. You go down to the hospitalized, okay, see, check this out. Positive, that's 103,000. Recovered, that's 65,000. So if you subtract that, what is that? What is that, like 38,000 that they're not mentioning. Okay, where are those people? The 38,000 of those people who have tested positive, they've allegedly not recovered yet. It's about 38,000. They tested positive. This is their numbers. Very, very simply put for us, thanks to the government. They said this much, 38,000 are unaccounted for. What happened to those people? Are they still in quarantine still? What's happening to these people? All right. Chances are actually the great majority of those people are recovered as well. All right. Pretty much. All right. So as far as recovered people, you could tack on about at least 30,000 people to that number. So they're lying to your face in black and white and in green and different colors. It's color coded. But if that's not bad enough, right? And that's just taking just a little bit of sense. I'm not a professional detective. And to my knowledge, neither is Brenda, but sometimes it seems like it. Okay, then we go to hospitalized. These people hospitalized. 3,148. Okay. And it's kind of confusing the way that they put it, because they say 3,148 is hospitalized. Okay, and then they go down to deaths. Down here, let's take a look at it. 2,140 deaths. And it's kind of confusing because it's like, all right, those people hospitalized in that number for 3,000, which you're making up the numbers. But in that number, 3,148 hospitalized, does that include the people who have died? Because certainly the majority of the people who died, didn't they go to the hospital and die? Right, it's kind of confusing in a sense. But even if that's not the case, even if currently there's 3,148 that are hospitalized right now and not dead, if we consider the number of deaths, 2,140, it's kind of pretty safe to conclude that if you go to the hospital with this here virus, from their very own numbers staring at us right in the face, if you go to the hospital, chances are, a good chance, like the percentage is way high up there, you're gonna die. And if you notice, for the people who somehow didn't go to the hospital, by staggering majority, do they recover? And it's not even a big deal. And y'all are making up the numbers, and you're gassing up the numbers, and they're not impressive, right? And so no matter how many people might ride down the road and say, oh, God dang, you know, you're an a-hole and blah, blah, blah. My grandma got sick. All right, I don't know if Brenda saw the sign that we had up earlier, but like I said, there's some stories that I could tell about that sign that I had. And Lord knows I'm the type of fella to run around with some signs. I don't know how to get out of here. We'll go back to that because I do have maybe a story or two to share with y'all before we get out of here. And I do want to know what's up on Brenda's mind. You know what I'm saying? She can feel free to call in. Every episode's a call-in thing. Alright, but sometimes I'll announce it, sometimes I won't. But pretty much every time you can call in if you want. And probably if you call to my phone, I'll record it either way. You know what I'm saying? So don't call me in the middle of the night because this is on record. Alright, I just want to let everybody know. If you call me on my landline, I'm going to record it just for your safety, for my safety and stuff. And probably because it'll be entertaining. But check this out. The sign. I was holding up this sign, and I don't know if Brenda's seen it, but I was holding up this sign on Saturday. Happened to be concurrent with the president and his speech. And Lord knows, we could go into the details. Oh, there wasn't so many people. It wasn't a big turnout. Yeah, I know. It was sabotaged. This, that, and the third. And it's like, gosh, man, everything's such, uh, it's so slimy and stuff, man. It's like, and I've heard it so much, even though it's like I'll hear the same thing over half a dozen times. To the point is, I don't even want to bring it up because so many people have talked about it. All right, so Donald Trump, he had a rally. I saw him say some things in a speech later on that night, and I thought it was awesome. I liked it. All right, it could always be better, but then again, you know what I'm saying? You can only ask so much of a person. I thought the speech was awesome. It's all sort of people covering the rally. The turnout was what it was, and blah blah blah. There was some chaos and calamity, but thankfully nothing really major took place. Right? It's a hoax. The masks were a lie. And so I had some interactions with people. People really, every time I come out with a new sign, people dig it more and more, I think. I'm not sure if that's true, but I do get a bigger and bigger reaction every time. So I'm out there with my sombrero, as you might imagine, just carrying on. People are having a good time. All right. And I was yelled at that by a person. They called me an a-hole. Right. I don't think it was the only person who did that. But then, as they were driving by out of the passenger side, a lady, she's like, "My sister has COVID, you a-hole." And I mean, it's just typical. It's like one of those typical. I mean, yeah, people would look at me and say, "Oh, you're insensitive." Yeah, I know. I totally agree. I mean, that was the whole point. It's like to take Twitter out to the real world and stuff, and just hold it up at people as they drove by. But at the same time, I didn't say anything about the virus being a hoax. People are so in love with lies that they can't help it. And of course, they got this victim mentality, and it'll turn into a violent ball of rage and stuff. And basically, that is point blank period how they even made Nazis. Well, that's how they got people to like even fall in line with the Nazis. Right? They get them all desperate. They get them under this victim mentality, and then they get them into a ball of murderous rage. Meanwhile, my sign doesn't say anything about the virus being a hoax. Not at all. All right, and I'll go further because there's a couple other. I mean, we'll probably. There's definitely more developments that are going to come from that evening that I'm going to have to share with you. They're still in development and stuff. Let's just say there's things that happened that night. All right, but what I want to say is what I think is most crucial is that you notice certain things out there carrying on this way that you might not notice otherwise. You might not have the opportunity to notice, right? Like, for example, I noticed that there's certain type of people who, and I'm close to an intersection, right? But it's a populated street. People are moving. It's like a pretty, you know what I'm saying? It's a pretty main street. Kind of near the intersection, so sometimes people slow down. And you make observations about the people, how they react. Obviously, it's like most people ain't going to react, and that's interesting to note. But everybody's going to see it. There's not one person who doesn't see it. And then you'll notice how quick some people are quick to jump off the leash at you. And they'll have these gestures and they'll say these things. Doesn't really deter anything. And I don't know. It kind of blows my mind to think about it. The fact is that you really think that saying these things is going to cause somebody to, feel shame and then stop what they're doing. And then, like, I don't know, what's the point of doing what you're doing? Yelling obscenities out the car windows, all right? But I have noticed that certain people get all revved up, just as you might imagine. Just as you might imagine, people with big old trucks love it. They can't get enough of it. And sometimes, and it happened a couple times, they'll blow this horn. You know what I'm saying? For those people out there in the trucking industry, the type that you strap onto your 18-wheeler. I don't know why, but they have them on their trucks. And they'll blast that thing. When you're right outside of that, oh my gosh, dude, it takes over your whole world. It's deafening. All right, and that happened a couple of times. As people get all revved up, of course, there's very youthful people out there who especially get revved up for that sort of thing. They love the youth loves, regardless of where they're at on the spectrum, they love this whole, what do you call it, conspiracy theory culture. They love that, all right? They go nuts for it because they know they're being lied to. And the whole part of youth is realizing you've been lied to for pretty much everything. Everybody's lying to you. All right, so you figure that out. You go kind of wild and nutballs, and and they love it. All right, and I can't blame them. I also gotta say, the more attractive people physically tend to like it. All right, I hardly ever see very attractive people who are disliking what I'm doing out there. And like I said, it's a small fraction of people out there. I notice, man, there's certain people out there. There's certain types of people out there. And I don't know how you would call these people necessarily. There's 3 people up in the building. I appreciate you. We got a story to tell. While I'm out there and I'm holding up this sign by a very populated street, like I said, by an intersection, I notice there's certain people who are very quick to have conversations, right? Very quick to have conversations. And might I add that as far as I know, the majority of those people were people of color. I guess if you're going to call them that. All right, but what I'm saying is not the white people. Now, there might have been a couple. I do remember a couple of different white people. And mind you, the intersections, sometimes they're at a light, so sometimes the cars are stopped. So they'll talk to me, they'll have conversations. But the great majority of them were, in fact, people of color. And I did appreciate that a lot, right? Some of the questions that were asked to me over and over, some of the most typical questions is, like, what if, well, here's one of the questions, what if so-and-so gets it? What if they get sick? You know what's interesting is all sort of people were reacting to it. People were talking to me out of the side of their cars at an intersection. They're like, what if this and that? What do you say to that? What if about people getting sick? And you know what's interesting? No matter where they're at on the political spectrum, a way to dodgeball that, if you will, or not even to dodgeball that, but just to draw attention to what's more important, is to say people can still get sick. Like, that's why the sign doesn't say the virus is a hoax. And with the limited time that we had in our little conversations, I would say, I'm not saying people can't get sick. In fact, people can get sick. Right? This is a hoax. The whole other thing about it, this is a hoax. To include these masks, the masks don't work. And depending on how much time that I had, like if the light turned green or something, I would make sure to emphasize the note, the masks don't work. It's not about who has the virus, how many people have the virus. Oh, my auntie has the virus, and now you're public enemy number 1. The thing is, I'm not negating who does and doesn't have the virus. The masks don't work, and that's as simple as night and day. They don't work, and everybody knows they don't work. And the more you think about it, these masks, first of all, we knew from day one it was a satanic ritual. But if you were to even think about it scientifically, they literally don't make any sense. In fact, they don't even start to make any sense. All right, there's so many details that we've gone over and that we could go over if we wanted to. All right, but just to be very simple, just to be so simple, the news themselves said the mask will not keep you from getting sick. They said that. They said that's not what it's for. They said the masks are for you not getting other people sick. That's what they're for. It's out of courtesy. Did they or did they not? Dr. Fauci and all them, they said it's because you're not to get people sick. All right. All right. So let's think about it. Is everybody sick? And that's my question. I can't even I don't even want to go to the store anymore. I'm probably going to get my groceries delivered just to skip all that. And hopefully I can work that out. But, okay, is everybody sick? Because let's be so simple about it. Is everybody sick? Because, now you're taking all these tests. And, yeah, people are all asymptomatic. And you're shutting down factories and stuff like that in a cold, calculated manner. Is everybody sick? Because when I go to the grocery store, with or without a law in place, people are wearing masks, maybe 75% of the people. Are 75% of the people sick? Because if they're not sick, if those people are not sick, then they're wearing the mask literally for no reason. Because like I said, it won't help you not get sick. It'll just help you not make others sick. So if you're not sick, there's no reason to get it. There's no reason to have the mask. Okay. Either that, okay, let's assume all y'all are sick. Let's assume the 75% of people out there at the store wearing a mask voluntarily, let's say they are sick. Okay. Or somewhere in between, some sort of number in between. Let's say they're all sick. Okay. Hey, you're not dying. Get it? Get over it. Do you get it? You're not dying. Do you get it? We all have it. See that? See how we're all testing, quote, positive? In fact, most people aren't testing positive, and the tests don't work. And people are getting shut down from their jobs and stuff in quarantine, even though they're not sick. And if we were to test everybody right now, I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume that half people, I mean, it's a whole bunch of the people already have it. They're not dying. And that's the end of y'all's little game. And there's so many other details that we can go on about how unscientific the masks were to begin with. But it is so simple. People carrying on, right? And they're continuing to carry on. And they're trying to wreck the economies on purpose. Now, before we get out of here, I want to check this out. Unwrapped by Brenda. Oh, look at that's all. That's mostly okra right there, by the way. I just gotta let you know in the background as we get out of here. I don't know what time it is because I got a new setup, and I can't even see the clock from here. 9:02. All right, we got a little bit of time. What the heck? Man, we're checking that out. Look, there's some okra in the background. All right. Unwrapped by Brenda says this stuff. All right. She says this. Oh wow, I didn't see it. Truth. What? What are we talking about here, Brenda? She says CNN was on the news where I worked, and the fake newscasters literally mocked us and said that Trump put an ad on Craigslist hiring black people to be in his audience. Oh my gosh, man. They don't have no lows. Alright, there's nothing, I mean, lower than a snake's belt buckle. Alright, these people are ridiculous. She says, I love that you are doing that with the signs. Could snap someone out of it. Could very well snap someone out of it. Alright, and I would imagine for the most part, the people who are really, really going to get snapped out of it are the children who know how to read. Who they might be in the back seat of a parent who's losing their damn mind over these masks. And all it does is plant the seed. I mean, obviously, all the evidence points out to where the masks themselves are a hoax, and they're going to force them on us anyways, and their numbers are preposterous, right? So it could snap some people out of it, I'm sure. You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of interactions. There's a lot of people who had conversations with me, but there's some people who they couldn't do that, right? Traffic was going by too much, but they did want to react, and people did react. The most strangest reactions, dude. And I wish I could get a GoPro, like, to get out there. I do have a GoPro, but I don't know if I could get accurate footage out there of exactly what it's like to be out there. Alright? But it's kind of nuts, man. Some people got really angry and upset, obviously. And they would be wearing their masks in the car. And they'd be like, some people would grab their masks or point to their masks. Some people were waving their masks at me. It's like, you think this makes a difference? I'm holding a sign that says you're dumb and you should stop doing this because you've been tricked. And mind you, every single time I have an American flag also that I'm carrying, one of those big 5-foot ones, and I want to get a come take it flag, and I've been slacking on it, but I need to get that. The American flag, and that's waving gloriously as the sun is setting in the background. I mean, it's just picturesque. They're waving masks at me like that's gonna hurt me somehow, or like, I don't know, that's gonna, if that's a legitimate argument, it's crazy. I got all sort of reactions, a lot of thumbs ups, a lot of this and that about encouragement. I swear to you, just because it's burned into my memory, one person I saw driving down the road, he had a mask on, and he was in a truck, by himself. And he gave me a thumbs up. And trust me, I saw it. Like, a lot of people give me the finger. And so, no, he was giving me the thumbs up. He was very happy about my sign. And I was like, what in the world's going on right now? I was like I said, in the truck by himself, he's wearing a mask. And he was encouraged by the sign. I was like, what's going on here? I mean, as anybody's guess, but I was like, dude, if he's in a company truck right now, and if they literally have a camera on him, if that's literally what's happening right now, then I don't know, man. I just don't know. So, okay, I had those sort of interactions. Like I said, maybe 1 out of 12 people were negative, or they said something negative. But there were certain types of people, especially when it would come up to a light and stuff, they would take advantage. And they were having conversations with me. All right? Genuine conversations. There was a number of people who the conversation went something like, they would roll down their window, and while they're sitting there, they'd be like, excuse me, and I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, what's a hoax? Genuinely asking me for my opinion. I mean, a person who's neither on the left nor the right, a person who's just neutrally, and so refreshing, and it's the perfect kind of person to talk to, who literally is just asking, what do you mean? What do you mean by your sign? It's a hoax. And then I would let them know the masks are a hoax, and you don't need to know anything else. We're not all scientists in a laboratory wearing our white lab coats. We don't need to know anything else, right? The masks don't work. Quite obviously, it's been proven a long time ago. It's a satanic ritual. It's here to get you used to breaking yourself off. And people are going around tattletelling on businesses. And that in of itself is so simple. I mean, for these businesses out here, okay, especially these restaurants, when people are going, human beings are going to the restaurants. They're eating there. I've been to the restaurants, right? I have my favorite ones. I've been going there just like everybody else. I don't wear a mask. I walk in there. I take a seat at the bar or something, and nothing, no mask. And it's pretty much as time goes by, less and less people are you might catch them at the grocery store wearing masks, but they're not going to be caught dead at the restaurant wearing masks. Fewer and fewer people are at the restaurants wearing masks, and nobody's at the dog park wearing these masks, right? They're freaking tired of it. And so when I'm having these conversations with the people, it's not about, oh, does the virus exist? Does it not exist? It's one of those points that, although it's crucial, it's not a conversation to be had while someone's sitting in traffic. Okay? The point blank period, the masks don't work. So that's your little thread right there. You keep pulling on that, you realize this whole sweater full of lies. Right? And so just planting the seed. All right? Waving their masks at me, for real. Brenda, waving their masks at me, pointing at the mask, almost as if to say, look, I'm being careful. This is what you should be doing. You shouldn't be out here with a sign. You should be doing what I'm doing to be more careful. Like, I just never thought about it. Oh, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to wear a mask? I'm not supposed to make this sign, which obviously took me half an hour to do. I'm not supposed to hold it out in public and stuff and laugh at you the whole time? Oh man, I didn't realize I was supposed to be in my car by myself with a mask on in order to be safe. All right. I didn't realize that. But meanwhile, we got to get up out of here and stuff, man. We've taken a good amount of time. I just did want to tell you about these here okras right behind you. Just a whole bunch of okras right there. And they just sprouted up, man. The thing is, I've had to consolidate with my garden and stuff. There's a lot of developments that I haven't been able to share, actually, just because, like, my brain doesn't work sometimes. But there has been a lot of developments, and you'll notice from my garden right here that I actually got rid of a lot of plants. A lot of the plants that you're not seeing right there, that got rid of. See, a lot of these plants used to be little tiny plants, and now they got bigger. But a lot of the plants are no longer there because they're actually in gardens, 2 different gardens that I have here that I've allocated. And a lot of the plants have ended up there. I would say about 30, 35 plants in each garden. So probably talking about 70 plants all together with those gardens. Have made their ways over there. So there's some of the plants, a couple handfuls of plants that I got rid of. The reason is because I need some space. See down there, you got some herbs down there, and they were a pleasure, man. They did what they had to do. I'm probably gonna have to get rid of them just because I want to concentrate on these here okras and stuff. All right, it's like a grain of sand in the whole scheme of things, but I mean, ultimately, what better way to fight against people who literally want to starve us out, and they're doing it, or they're carrying out to the best of their abilities and stuff, man. They don't want us to eat. They want us to starve, all right? They want us to be on their little handout system. And so it's a way against it. And so I was thinking to myself, man, you know, it's only so much time. We got to get more into the broadcasting and get some of these calls and stuff under our belt. Meanwhile, Brenda's going to have to call in next time. All right, I don't know why she didn't call in this time. But we're going to see if we can get her to call in and stuff. We got some people who's on the list who I know y'all want to hear from. All right. And we're going to work that out. But meanwhile, yeah, I was doing these gardens. I have 2 gardens going and stuff. There's certain things that I got to situate and make sure I can maintain those gardens. And meanwhile, all these plants right here, they need to find a home. All right. And so I'm on the lookout for a 3rd garden. All right. And there's other developments that I'm just going to keep under my hat for right now and tell you about them a little bit later. So that's just suffice it to say, doing the best that I can, and I assume that y'all are out there doing the best you can. All right, and that's the best we can do. Meanwhile, there's no reason to believe anything and stuff, man. People giving us the runaround, and that's, I guess that's the moral of the story. All right. Anyways, it's June the 22nd, 2020, and I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. As far as Wednesday, I don't know if we're going to have Wednesday. We might work up to that. Here's the thing. For the people who do have my phone number, if you caught the end of this, and I guess I'll let you know as soon as possible in whatever way. I got to let y'all know the broadcast. Maybe we'll have one on Wednesday. Maybe we won't be able to. We're definitely shooting for Fridays and stuff like that. But in the meantime, you can call anytime, basically. Or if you give me some heads up, especially, because I may or may not be home. But if I am home, call anytime and get it off your chest, all right? And then we'll throw it on the broadcast later and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter. See, the thing is, we can't always schedule our emotional rants, all right, or whatever. Or fits of rage. We can't always schedule them. So if you do have to come get it off your chest, set an appointment with me up real quick, and then we'll put it down and stuff, and then we'll get it on the internet because people love it. Anyways, it is June the 22nd, 2020. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later.